So as we begin this meditation on the topic of freedom, please find a comfortable posture, a position hopefully where you're comfortable sitting erect, feet grounded on the floor. And try meditation with your palms open, facing up, because this is a gesture, a statement of being open and receptive to the infinite good that flows to us now. Close your eyes if you're comfortable, and let the noise of the day and the noise of your mind quiet and release and soothe. Ernest Holmes taught that most human suffering is not caused by outer conditions. It is caused by those beliefs we hold about those conditions. In other words, we inhibit our own sense of freedom. So right now, I invite you to reject and release any thought that you're limited or stuck or without resource. Breathe in your freedom and just exhale anything that robs you of your sense of freedom. Breathe in that freedom. Imagine an open sky, a sky that's wide, luminous, boundless, stretching in every direction. No edges, no limits. This is a picture of the infinite mind. It operates in an abundance of freedom. Freedom is your original nature, the natural state of a consciousness aligned with infinite life. You belong to that open, boundless place, that sky of freedom. You are free because freedom is the truth of your being at the deepest level. Our work is to remember it and live accordingly. Charles Fillmore taught us there is no reality in lack. Abundance is here and now manifest. And this applies not only to material things, but to joy, peace, possibility, and the felt sense of aliveness that comes with our freedom. Breathe this in, pause, reflect. And as you return to this room, return reminded of your true nature. You are aware and aligned with the freedom flowing through your being. We affirm, I am an expression of infinite life and love. I am free. I open fully to this truth, and so it is.
Thank you, Pam. Beautiful as always. So good to hear you. Thank you very much. Okay, before Aubrey comes up and does her talk, she asked me to read a little something to you this morning. I will not accommodate myself to the dictates of fear. I commit myself to the ways of love. Sometimes it seems easier to accommodate ourselves to the ways of an insane world than to stand up and say no. Sometimes it seems easier to just go along, to abide mediocrity, to not have to take the heat of a fearful world's approbation when we insist on doing what we feel is right. Today, I refuse to accommodate myself to the dictates of fear. I am part of the revolution of love now sweeping the world, saying no to fear and yes to love. In whatever way I can, I contribute consciously to the emergence of a better world. Though the world is weary and tired of the fight, I refuse to succumb to the slumber of fear. This is not the time to be numb, to acquiesce, to just go along. I will not accommodate myself to the ways of fear. I commit myself to the ways of love.
Thank you both, Pam and Dirk, for setting the consciousness of what my talk is about, and both beautiful in presentation, beautiful in voice. I love you both. Thank you. Thank you. It's a tough subject, this subject of freedom. Because it's not a stationary monument that we inherit, it is a living, breathing practice, and we must consciously renew it every single day. This is very interesting because originally, writing about this profound topic in June 28th, isn't it funny, June 28th, 2022, I noted in my introduction that week that we must be free, not because we claim freedom, but because we practice it. And here we are 4 years later, 2026, this timeless truth resonates even more deeply across our national landscape. Our world contributes to experience rapid cultural shifts, complex technology transformations, historical political transition, and the test of our collective resolve for all of us. In times of transition and uncertainty, true liberty is found not in the external circumstances, but in our sovereignty, our shared humanity, and how we actively choose to treat one another. The current political and government climate presents us with a unique, definite historical crossroads. And this profound awakening, the fact that we cannot solve modern challenges with hostility, with animosity, and with defensive tribalism. Instead of focusing heavily on institutional friction, we as a society are being called to lift our gaze and focus on a unified, grander horizon. And again, and I've said this before, how many times when you're walking around do you see people just walking around like this? And I say we have to lift our gaze. The intentional pursuit of peace in all lands is shared unwaveringly, dedication to the common good. So no more than ever are people yearning, we're all yearning for harmony and collaboration and systemic restoration. To build truly meaningful of liberty, we must first deeply understand the dual philosophical nature. Thinkers and philosophers across centuries have divided liberty into two essential interdependent forms, negative liberty and positive liberty. And I had never heard this before. And when I was looking up liberty, these things showed up. So negative liberty is fundamentally defined as freedom from the absolute absence of external obstacle barriers or coercive restraints. It ensures that the government, public institutions, or social majorities cannot unjustly block your physical actions. Positive liberty, conversely, is the freedom and the capacity, resources, education, and inner emotional strength to act upon one's fundamental human potential. It is the ability to achieve total mastery, to become primary author of your own destiny. To become the primary author of your own destiny. Negative liberty gives us the open, unmapped space to move freely, but positive liberty gives us the higher purpose. Intellectual education, more clarity to choose the right path going forward. True, lasting freedom requires beautiful, delicate, mature balance of both distance forms. We absolutely need a free society that legally protects our right to speech, just as I'm allowed to come here today to speak, and you're allowed to come here today to listen. But simultaneously needs the personal discipline, the moral courage to use that speech to heal rather than to harm, to build bridges rather than to burn them down. As the renowned Enlightenment philosopher Jean Rousseau wisely observed in his fundamental texts, obedience is to a law which prescribes to ourselves is liberty. So we have the choice. We must master our own internal impulses based on desires, immediate reactions, and chaotic external world to an activity, intentionally shaping it, treating our neighbors with fundamental dignity. We successfully create a self-sustaining ecosystem of peace. You know, it's interesting, and it was in fun, but I was listening to a conversation yesterday, and the person said, you know, they had insane Tony on one side of them and the nutcase Maria on the other side of them, yet she lived in a good neighborhood. So I was like thinking, so treating our neighbors with fundamental dignity. So yeah, sometimes we have neighbors that are a little off our beat, maybe. But where does our responsibility come in to treating our neighbors with fundamental dignity? We successfully create a self-sustaining economic peace. I don't know. I don't know what we do in that instance. I don't know. But there has to be an answer rather than giving them a label and talking about them. And I'm not quite sure what that is. But maybe a conversation, maybe some kind of friendship. One has a yard that's a mess. Maybe getting a group of neighbors together to fix it. I don't know the answer. But I know the question, how do we treat neighbors with fundamental dignity? And that's not only your neighbor next door, that's who's sitting next to you right now. You know, that's the people that we see out on the street. Fundamental dignity. I think civility is lost right now, and I think we need to find it. See, we cannot separate peace from freedom because no single individual can truly be at peace unless all of humanity possesses their fundamental freedom, all of humanity. The current political and government climate presents us with a unique and, again, difficult crossroads. We recognize a profound awakening to the fact that we cannot solve this with hostility, animosity, defensive tribalism, them against us. I was listening to an Ohio senator this morning, and he was saying that all of Ohio's workers are Haitians, and now they risk being sent back. That's insanity. Ohio will not function without those workers. What are we doing? Not we. What is humanity doing, right? People are yearning for harmony, collaboration, and systematic restoration. But let's be honest. Achieving total harmony can be a bit of a messy process. We know that. It actually reminds me of a family 4th of July barbecue. Imagine a group of people gathered in a backyard. You've got one person who is absolutely convinced they are the certified master of the grill, flipping burgers with intense devotion. Then you have the kids running through sprinklers, totally, God bless them, oblivious to the world, splattering water all over. Uncle Bob is in the corner trying to launch fireworks 2 hours before the sun is even going to set. Even goes down, and Grandma is keeping an eagle eye on the potato salad, making sure that nobody leaves it out in the sun too long. Everyone has an idea how the day should go. It's loud, it's chaotic, and it's filled with completely different personalities. But when the sun finally sets and everyone pulls their lawn chairs together to look up at the sky and watch the fireworks light it up, suddenly the noise fades. In that moment, everyone is sharing the same exact wonder. The backyard barbecue is like our presence of freedom. We don't need everyone to be exactly the same to experience harmony. True liberty isn't about everyone marching perfect, identical steps. It's about us bringing this unique, messy, beautiful selves to the table and choosing to look up at the same grand horizon together. The universality of the oneness of the sacred one. To build a truly meaningful life of liberty, we have to look at how we balance this life together. Thinkers, philosophers across the centuries have actually split their ideas of liberty into two essential forms. And we already talked about the negative and the negative, the freedom from absolute absence of obstacles bearers. Somebody is always telling you you can't put relish on a hot dog. Well, why not? Why not? Why is that person so adamant about that? Unless you go to a Chicago hot dog and that's all you get, and don't dare ask for sauerkraut, because they tell you this is Chicago. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus, he captured this dynamic perfectly through profound life story, enduring all of these teachings. Again, I bring to you antiquity that brings you to the same everyday beliefs. He was born into brutal slavery within the vast Roman Empire. Epictetus understood the harsh physical boundaries of human bondage better than anyone in history. Yet, Despite his intense external constraints and the lack of his physical rights, he maintained that true, unbreakable freedom belongs entirely and exclusively to the human mind. And I love this saying of his. He famously wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." No man or woman is free who is not master of him or herself. And that sums up the whole teaching of unity and of all New Thought people and people that don't go to any church but believe this. This sums it up. We're not free unless we master our own life. It takes a lot of responsibility, it takes a lot of guts, it takes a lot of deep digging, it takes a lot of forgiving. Governments, at the end of the day, are entirely comprised of people. And the overreaching climate of government is ultimately, you're not going to like this, the direct reflection of our collective consciousness and its individual citizens. Whatever is going on right now, whether you like it or dislike it, it's the collective consciousness of the world. It's not a God that said, oh, it's time for mix it all up and let's see what you guys do with it. No, we mixed it all up, and now we don't know what to do with it. So the common goal of the human heart is rapidly, and I see this in so many people that I speak with, shifting towards a much higher, noble purpose, creating genuine, lasting peace in all lands. This is not passive, fragile peace that merely avoids conflict, but an active and vibrant and resilient peace built on mutual respect, open economic cooperation, and shared human prosperity. When people from diverse cultures, backgrounds, different political parties, and various walks of life intentionally come together for this singular grand purpose, the old, rigid structures of division naturally will begin to dissolve. We quickly realize that what unites us, it's our universal desire for safety, for prosperity, clean air, meaningful work, and love. It's infinitely more powerful. It is more powerful than the superficial ideological labels that attempt to tear us apart. So as we look together, all of us, and I know all of us believe this, we look toward a future and celebrate our nation's historical milestone, 250 years, the 4th of July, the classic ring and phrase, "Let freedom ring," takes us on a much deeper, highly individual meaning for our generation. Yet incredibly fortunate to live in this country that legally secures that fundamental right to speak up, to assemble peacefully, to create businesses, and cast our votes for free elections. We must not let go of this. This is America. This is our democracy. So the true ring of freedom then most echo powerfully within the individual consciousness of manifest vividly in our collective actions towards one another. How are we treating each other? How are we treating that neighbor next door that needs their grass cut? You know, I think I've told you this before, and some of you know him. Bob, my tall neighbor, with Karen, his little wife. It's hysterical. They're so cute together. And every Wednesday, they go to my house. They go to Jackie and Bob's house because Jackie has a walker. And they go to Mary's house, who has a walker and a cane. And they bring in the garbage cans and put them by the garage. Ever since I've lived there. And I asked them one day, way in the beginning, why do you do that? And they said, because we can. Because we can. Something as simple as that. Simple as that. When we purposely, and I'll say it again, use our collective reason, collective, opening our consciousness to collectively open, pull out all the stuff. Pull it out. Throw it in your barbecues and burn it. Right? We seek harmony, common ground, rather than division. We finally fulfill the true, majestic promise of a genuinely free society. We must always remember it is the infinite mind is entirely, beautifully limitless. It is completely unbound by political borders, economic downturns, government shifts, cultural anxieties. Your unique life, my friends, your personal freedom, live to exactly as you choose, can only expand to the greatest, most magnificent heights imaginable, depending entirely on how much you truly believe this profound truth. Therefore, let us move forward together by actively practicing our freedom daily. Let us intentionally replace harsh judgments with deep curiosity, hostility, radical hospitality, and political division with a shared, beautifully vision of a global harmony. By mastering our own internal words, opening our ears to truly hear our neighbors, and committing wholeheartedly to lead by example. God bless you. We can usher in a magnificent new era of peace. It's not just some distant utopian dream, but live daily reality in all lands. So let us courageously claim this freedom, practice it with devotion, and watch our world beautifully transform inside out. So I want you to say this with me. I'll say it first. We are limitless. We are free. Together, we are peace. We are limitless. We are free. And together, we are peace. And now let's say it with conviction. We are limitless. We are free. And together, we are at peace. And so it is. And thank you.